I hope I didn't forget anything.
Okay.
Let's see. All right. Well, welcome to my show, I guess. It's basically we just let people in and we just talk with each other. Sometimes I have a specific topic that I talk about or try to get everyone who joins to talk about. And today it's you. So welcome. And do you want to introduce yourself? And I'll just kind of I mean, basically how I found you just through YouTube's algorithm. But I mean, it took probably, I've been watching YouTube for maybe a year and a half, 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And now, like just a few days ago, I found in we're kind of alike in a lot of things that we think about and how the government is and how just the stuff that's behind or above the political system. And
Right.
so I'm glad that you're able to come on and just talk about things, because not a lot of people seem to want to talk. They just rather make videos, let people watch it, and just try to get as many views as they can, revenue or whatever. So
Right. I mean, yeah. Well, some people call me PA. I go by Political Avenger. Um, I just started making videos about a year and a half ago because I saw the political climate during the primaries. And, I used to be an activist. I guess I'm still an activist,
yeah,
but I was more of an activist back in the day where I was actually going out and protesting against the Bush administration, all those things. And then, I was hardcore for 8 years. And then I volunteered for the Obama candidacy. And, I heard, the whole thing, his hope and his this and this, that, that whole
yeah,
situation that everybody got drawn into. So I
yeah,
was like, I was, I knew better. I knew better, but I wanted to believe that what was being said was actually true.
yeah,
Because we all hope that things are, what people say it is. We,
exactly.
we have that inner thing in that inner human part of us that want to believe what we're being told by people from authority.
Yeah.
And I volunteer. I'm sorry, go ahead.
And I noticed that on your YouTube, your channel art that you have, I think it's supposed to say the truth is out there.
Yeah.
Anyways, I have a poster. I'm not sure if that's from X-Files, but I have a poster that says I want to believe, and that's what makes me think about that too, because we all
Yeah.
really want to believe in something. And then but a lot of us are just kind of standing back and just saying, okay, I believe, but something just doesn't seem right, and then it just doesn't seem right as more time passes.
Yeah.
And so what like, was it gradual, or was there something specific that happened that made you just snap out of
Well,
the support
what started changing my outlook, because what it is like, I went to politics in high school. I used to like to watch C-SPAN. That was my thing. I used to sit out, I used to go home, from school and then sit and watch C-SPAN. And I was very interested about how the government worked and all that. And then when I got out of high school, well, I dropped out and then I graduated. And then I started working, and then I started, hearing about, everybody had, you should register to vote. Like, it's very important. And I got involved in the politics and all this other stuff. And then when September 11th happened, I think that's when I woke up. That's when things hit me that things were not what I was seeing on C-SPAN, or, what the news was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
September 11th really like took me down a path that I was just questioning every single thing. I was looking into everything. I wanted to find out, you know, why people from other countries would want to attack us in that manner. And then it just took me down a path, and then the whole thing with Bush and the connections between the Bush family and the Carla group and Bin Laden's dad, and just went down the rabbit hole from there. Yeah. And then after that, it was 8 years of, and I'm a hardcore liberal. Like I was a hardcore liberal. I saw how these so-called conservatives were not really conservatives. The so-called Republicans that were in office were not really Republicans, because my mother was a Republican, and she's Hispanic, and she's like the old type of Republican. Her philosophy is the old, like pick yourself up by your bootstraps, take care of yourself, do for yourself. And these people were not acting like the way my mother was acting. Yeah. And so then I started looking into that, and then I got caught up in the whole movement of the anti-war movement, and I got caught up in the whole Fahrenheit 9/11. I don't know if you ever saw that.
Yep, I saw that.
And then I just went down that path, and then what happened was I volunteered for Obama, for the Obama campaign. I did the whole the standing in the election at the voting booths or the voting locations. I passed out flyers. I did the whole nine, the whole what everybody does. And I bought it, and I wanted to believe that what he was saying was real, was true. That everything was going to change. He was going to stop the wars, that whole thing. And 2 months passed after he got elected, and everything he said, it was straight up lie. He was going the opposite way right away, 2 months. And as soon as I saw him backtracking in his speeches and when he would do conferences, I said, shit. Can I cuss?
Yeah. You can say anything you want here.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. I notice you do cuss a lot in your videos, but you don't have to worry about saying sorry here. You can just.
I'm sorry, but I'm just it's automatic. And then when I saw what happened, where he was backtracking, and then they would ask him questions about the war in Iraq and the war in Afghanistan, and he would say, oh well, he started with like, okay, in 2 years, or I'm sorry, in 12 months, we'll start putting the troops out, and then 6 months passed, 7 months passed, 8 months passed, 9 months, and then it was just like I was like,
closing Gitmo was another one that he kept trying to do.
He just straight up lied. And then I swear, 2 months into it, when I saw him 1, 2, 3, I think 3 speeches, or I don't know if it was press conference or speeches, I said, this guy is full of shit. I'm like, Obama is full of shit. I fucked up. That's what I told myself.
Yeah.
I spent all that time fighting for this guy, like backing this guy, telling everybody to vote for this guy, and he fucking hooked me. He hooked me, and I should have known better, because they're all the same.
Yeah. I mean, I would assume you made a lot of friends, especially in a political group. Everyone kind of has the same ideals, maybe ideology. What do they think? I mean, are you still friends with any of them? What do they think about your? No.
Nope. None of them.
And are they still? They're still on the bandwagon for like Obama and Democrats?
You know what? After the first 2 years of Obama, everybody went silent.
Wow.
Everybody went silent. That I think that's what pissed me off the most. That after he got elected, everybody that was like raging against Bush and going off about the the Republicans and their crony capitalism and blah 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 blah. When Obama started doing the same thing, everybody disappeared. Everybody just went quiet.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm looking around and I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Like, where are the Cindy Sheehans of the world? Where's all these people, still arguing and fighting for, stopping the war?
Yeah.
It was just crazy. I was bitch slapped. Like, I gotta really nice smack in the face when Obama came into power.
And so there's a big gap between that point and then a year and a half ago. So was it Bernie Sanders' run that got you?
What happened was, after that, I was just pissed off, and I said, you know what? Because I had one friend that was just like he was cynical. He was like, you know what? Both parties are full of it. The whole system is corrupt. Like, don't even bother. He used to be like that type of guy.
Yeah.
Constantly, you want to be somewhat positive. Like,
yeah.
You don't want to opt out. And then I'm like, damn, man, he was right. Like, this MFer was right. Like, why would I even bother to deal with politics anymore? Just, it's not real.
Mm-hmm.
The whole system is just a fraud. And then I just opted out, and then I concentrated on just working and living my life. And then I saw, I wasn't paying attention because I don't have TV. Like, I don't have TV, I don't have satellite or any of that stuff. So everything is online or on my phone. And then I saw that, like, people were talking, like, there was this buzz, like everybody was talking about, oh, there's this person is running, and Jeb Bush is running, and that person is running, and Hillary's running. All these names that I know. Mm-hmm. And then they said Donald Trump is running. And then the big joke was Donald Trump. Everybody was making fun of Donald Trump. You would see like stuff online about him running and how it was a joke and that people would never vote for him. And then I got interested because everybody, used to talk about Donald Trump all the time. Like, mm-hmm. This guy, you're fired guy. That's how I know him. You're fired guy.
Celebrity.
And then people were just making such a big deal. And I'm like, okay, it's like a reality show. Let me check in. So I started checking in. Yeah. And I started watching what people were saying. And then I started like reading articles. And it was just like, when you know something's up, like something's going down.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't want to miss this. That's how I was.
Yeah.
I'm like, something's going down and I don't want to miss whatever this is, whatever I'm feeling. I don't want to miss this. So I started watching. And then I guess they had the debates.
Mm-hmm.
And actually tuned in. And then when I saw what happened in the debates, I said, oh, hell. I'm like, this is going to be good. That's how I was looking at it. Like, oh, this is going to be good. And I was still like, yeah, I'm not really, like, I don't really care. I just want to see what's going to go on. So I started watching the debates, and then what hooked me in all the way was when he brought, I guess it was a second debate.
Okay.
With Hillary Clinton.
Yep. What happened in that one?
When he brought the accusers of Bill, the ones that were,
yeah,
and he put them up there.
Yeah, I remember. Okay, now I remember that. Yeah.
Oh my God! When I saw that, I was like, and because everybody knows that knows anything about politics is you don't mess with the Clintons.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't fuck with the Clintons. Like, the Clintons you don't even have to know anything about the Clintons. You just know that you can't really mess with them because they got history. So when I saw that he did that, I was like, oh man. And like, he was telling her, you're gonna get arrested. Like, that was a debate. Like, he was just telling her, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. And I'm like, oh man, this is good. And after that, I just got hooked. I started watching everything. I watched what was going, what the news was talking about. And then I got involved. But then, I started seeing how my people, my community,
mm-hmm.
were reacting towards the conservatives. I started seeing that I started seeing my community. It's so weird. This is a weird situation. I saw my community become the right. If you can understand what I'm saying. Like, I saw like liberals that I knew. Literally, they looked to me like what the conservatives used to look to me in the early 2000s.
Okay.
They didn't tolerate anybody else's opinion. They were trying to, stifle other people's free speech. They were actually supporting a warmonger like Hillary Clinton. Like all this stuff that I saw in Republicans, the left, my left,
Yep.
was exactly what I used to see in the early 2000s.
Yep.
And then that was just like, that blew my mind. That's when I just said, you know, F you, and you guys are nuts. Like, I'm done. And then I saw, you know, what they did to Bernie Sanders, how like he was leading Hillary Clinton, and how they stole the election from Bernie Sanders, that whole thing, and how, you know, the investigation, and then, you know, from there is where I just let loose. I went crazy.
Which is funny because I always thought when I was growing up as a kid that I probably leaned like as a liberal. I would have called myself a liberal. You know, I wasn't too keen on being like a Republican or conservative, but now I would say I just call myself independent. I'm not really liberal. I'm not really conservative.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just, you know, I have my own thoughts about any and every issue. It's not, I don't fall into a category. And the thing is liberalism and feminism have turned into a weird bucket,
Right.
I guess.
No, I understand what you're saying on that. But what it is that it's not really liberalism, what you're seeing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know.
Like what we're seeing is not, because if you
They're
look up,
still calling it.
yeah, because it's easy to just, you know, the label's already there, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to call it, because nobody wants to use the word communism or communist or anarchist. You know, nobody wants to use those words because it's so strong. Mm-hmm. Liberal is easy. Liberal is it's in our vocabulary. It's been in our vocabulary forever. But when you start looking at these people, they're not liberals, because I'm a classical liberal. I believe in capitalism. I mean, liberals believe in capitalism, not crony capitalism. You know, a classical liberal is what you saw in the past. Mm-hmm. And that's what supposedly people were. And what you have now is your typical straight up communist, because my family in Venezuela, because I'm Venezuelan. So what's going down in Venezuela, mm-hmm. my family is still there. They are socialist, or they were socialist communists. My whole family. So that's what you see here. These people that are calling themselves liberals, they're communists. They're not socialists. I mean, they're not, you know, liberals. They're communists. They're Marxists. They're Leninists. You know, they believe in the Chinese style, Russian old style type of governing. And that's what they want. And I'm not talking about the folks that don't understand. Like, you know, like people that go to the, you know, the Women's March, the Pussy March, you know. I'm not mm-hmm. talking about those folks, because they don't really understand. They don't read into anything. But I'm talking about the ones that are activists, like the nowadays activists. They're communist, you know.
That will be interesting.
I mean, that's what I see. I mean, that's what I see, because I know about getting paid to protest. Mm-hmm. Most of these people don't work. I know about that because I hung out with them. I know about the Black Bloc. I know about the anarchists. You know, I used to see them. They used to be protected by the cops. And that's how I know. And you can, you know, and I used to go to Craigslist and see the advertisement, because I sometimes put advertisement when I used to be an activist in the back pages on Craigslist. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff out there that people are, you know, they don't talk about, but I'm talking about it. I'm like, fuck you. Like, you know, I'm going to talk about what I saw, what I did, you know?
Yeah. And you know, that's what we actually need, because I mean, it's hard to connect and get a full story when everyone's quiet. And it's also the fear. I mean, we see the things that they can do to people who are try to get in their way. Like you're talking about the Clintons. Yeah, you don't want to get in their way. I mean, Donald Trump's something else, whether they're friends, but he's a millionaire or billionaire. You don't want to mess. They're their own clan. They have their own circle of social networks where they can protect each other. But yeah, people like us, they can pick us off one by one and say, yeah, they left a suicide note. They, you know.
Yeah,
it gets people scared to speak out.
I mean, I guess you can say that. Yeah, people are. You just get to a point you don't give.
Yeah.
You don't care. It's like I don't give a. Like I would never show my face on anything. This stuff right here, I would have never. Like my life was so private.
Yeah.
I would have never. Like nobody knows my business. But it got so. I saw shit getting so bad, and I'm like, either I go or I just shut up for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And I just went, you know. And I have other things that I've experienced that involves the occult, which is something that they deal with. That the elites, they deal in the occult. They actually deal in voodoo, in witchcraft. This is something I know.
Yeah. Now, like, so there's a lot of occultism, especially in I guess the entertainment business, and especially music, especially when they're playing music.
Yeah.
Lady Gaga was last year. I mean, what's her name? I can't remember. Katy Perry. I mean, you see it everywhere. I mean, when I watch videos about people talking about the occultists and Illuminati, and it's very, very religious driven. Like very, very Christian people are making these videos and saying that they're all that. So it kind of takes me out of it. But then I still see the occultism that keeps popping up, and it's like, because I'm not really religious. I'm pretty anti-religious.
Right.
Not that I don't think people who are religious, they're not going to practice said religion. Same thing. So, kind of give me your perspective, because this is something that I like looking into, and I see it all the time. It's just I just don't know whether it just goes everywhere. Like I focus on one thing, and all of a sudden they start talking about the Inquisition.
Yeah. It's okay. So all right. So this is where I'm going to come out of. You believe in energy, right?
Well, I guess I would say I want to believe in energy. It depends on what you mean by
the scientific energy, like the whole theory or whatever, and, all the theories that like Einstein and
okay,
right, energy exists. Everything is energy.
Okay.
Right. That's the belief, right? It's everything is energy. Okay. So where the occult comes in, or my experience with the occult is, since I was a young kid, I can see things. Right? There's people that, I see dead people.
Okay.
Okay. So, but I never paid attention to that. I wasn't, I respected everybody's religion. I wasn't into anything. And something happened to me that I didn't have a choice to enter something because my life was in danger. So this is my story, right? So my experience in the occult is I did a lot of rituals, blood sacrifices. I was involved in a lot of initiation, which is, secret societies, that's what they do, initiations. So you can see certain religions as a secret society because that's what they are. So you have religions like Voodoo, Ifa, Santeria, Palo Mayombe. And then you have the white man's religion. And I say white man, I don't mean to disrespect anybody. And the aristocrat religion, or the occult, which is Freemasonry. There's like 1,000. There's like over 1,000 of these secret societies. You have the Bull Society, you have all this stuff. When you start dealing with, I call it energy, you start meeting particular people. And you start interacting with certain things. So I was interacting with certain things that normal people would think, like, this is insane. Like, and I started doing initiations, and there's all this stuff that goes into it. But what I will say is the elite And that means everyone you see on TV,
Mm-hmm.
everybody that you see that's in industry, they practice this. One form or another. It doesn't matter if it's religiously based or the occult where it's secret society based. They practice this. You will not get any type of power or gain any type of recognition or any type of fame unless you get initiated into something.
How do you get initiated?
Well, if it's religious, usually someone from the religion will bring you in and go through the process of initiation. If it's a secret society, somebody will refer you to it. So you're referred.
Now, what happens to people who want to get out?
That one's an obvious one.
Yeah. Okay.
It's an obvious. I'll tell you what happened to me when I wanted to get out. They tried to kill me. Like, that's straight up. They tried to kill you because you know too much. Because you've done certain rituals that are supposed to be secret. Mm-hmm. But if you watch any of my videos, I tell you, I kind of try to explain what I experienced and what went down. So when you're involved in this, you see certain things. There's certain type of secrets, certain type of rituals, certain type of spells, certain, there's all these things that you use for your benefit to gain power in this realm, which is
yeah. So when WikiLeaks came out with the Podesta emails and there was the Pizzagate stuff, were you like, oh yeah, that's definitely, you see that as
when I saw the WikiLeaks, first of all, I couldn't believe that they got a hold of those emails. I was shocked because that is, when you read, because these people talk, okay, so you have to understand, if you're a person that reads, you like to read people, read books or nowadays people don't read so much. Yeah. But if you like to read people's biographies or autobiographies, if you're reading their biographies, they tell you, they write it in their own biographies what they believe.
Yeah.
When you start looking into like Albert Pike, I don't know if you know what Albert Pike is.
It sounds familiar, but I don't know him off the top of my head.
Okay, so Albert Pike was a brigadier general for the Confederacy in the 1800s.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and he has a monument in Washington. He's wearing his whole Freemason garb, the whole nine, because every single president has been a Freemason. So when you start reading stuff like Albert Pike, where he's talking about Lucifer and how Lucifer is the light bearer. I mean, this is a person that was in charge of the Confederate Army.
Yeah,
that was above the 33rd degree Mason and a wizard, and a Ku Klux Klan member. So when these type, I mean, it's serious stuff. Yeah. When you start reading these people's writings, it's like, holy crap! Like, this stuff is serious. And how he explained how they were going to have World War I, and how it's going to be, how it was going to be started, and how they were going to have a World War II, and how that was going to be started, and how, World War III was going to be started. And this is in the 1800s.
Yeah.
And he was breaking it down for you, how it would start and how it ended up happening. World War I happened the same way he said it. World War II happened the same way he said it. And he said World War III would start with, they would use Islam against the Jewish people, like all that stuff. When you start reading that stuff, and it's coming from someone that, hasn't been around for like 200 years, you're like, okay. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no problem.
This stuff is serious.
Yeah. and it just gets crazier because, I mean, there are thinkers, but I was listening to someone. It's not really about people who are smart and thinking about it. It's just people who pay attention. Like, if you pay attention, you don't really have to be smart and just kind of just be like a sleuth, like you know, or a physicist or mathematician, whatever. You just had to pay attention, look at the details. When you look at the details, you're like, why would they have this? And then you look at something else, is like the smart part of you is thinking this is just illogical. It's too crazy. It's too big. And so it keeps holding you back. It keeps holding me back. I will say that.
No, I mean, it's hard to wrap your head around that. It's very hard. It's not easy.
But then, as I don't think they were expecting social media to explode, where anyone could get on and just start streaming or uploading videos, and some things just get out, and then hackers, email, communications, all that stuff. And we know pedophilia exists.
Mm-hmm.
We know it's in Hollywood. We know it's in government. We know it's in entertainment. I know you're talking about in one of your videos, but like also, was it Jimmy Savile or something over in the UK? Like he was knighted, and
I mean, yeah. Savile was. I mean, he was horrible. It was a horrible. He was evil. Like the man was. I mean, he was killing children. Like I mean, they found bodies in his homes.
Yeah.
Like he was. Yeah. I mean, he was sleeping. He was what do you call them? He used
necrophiliacs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. I mean, and he was in charge of what he was like in children. I mean, he was a disc jockey, Then he would be involved with a lot of children's charities. Like his stuff is like serious stuff. And then all the people that were around
in Asia or in or Russia, let's say in Asia, like are they also controlled by the power groups that seem to be holding more power in America, and I would say Europe?
What I will say is that it's every country. Every single country. It's in Islam, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about pedophilia?
Well, I'm talking about everything, the cult, pedophilia.
Okay. So you have over 1,000 secret societies.
Mm-hmm. So did they did they used to fight amongst each other, or did they just kind of decide, hey, uniting is just a lot better for everyone?
Exactly. You have certain orders in different parts of in different countries, right? So maybe a few hundred years ago they were fighting amongst each other, but once they understood that they were part of a society, they were part of a specific like alchemy and practice. The practice of because everything, if you think about it, everything always goes back to ancient times. Everything that we're seeing,
mm-hmm.
all the practice. There's an energy. I'm sorry, because I feel a lot of stuff. There's something coming through. So I'm talking about some stuff.
Yeah.
It's vibrating really, really strong. Okay, so everything goes back to Egypt, right? Everything goes back to Egypt.
Okay. Yep. The pyramids.
So, yeah. And not only goes back to Egypt, if you really look at Egypt, look at the pyramids of Guatemala, the pyramids in Mexico,
mm-hmm.
the pyramids in China that the Chinese don't tell you that they have. There's pyramids in China. The pyramids off the coast of Japan. So everything goes back to these ancient practices or cultures. They used to practice sacrifice.
Yep.
So you got to think about that. You got to think about, why did the Mayans used to sacrifice people? Why did the Egyptians used to sacrifice? Why did the Druids used to sacrifice virgins? Why did the Africans used to sacrifice? It's like different orders, but they used to follow the same type of practice.
Yep.
So, I mean,
and in different parts of
it's worldwide.
Yep.
It's worldwide. It's a lot. I mean, it's a lot of stuff. That I mean, but it all connects.
Yeah.
It all comes. This is what I would say. It always comes down to.
Comes down to what?
Something about the blood.
Okay.
The bloodlines. You hear people say the bloodlines and royalty, nobility, and all this stuff. That's why the elite, they consider that it's very important. The bloodline. They don't want to mix the blood with anybody. It's not from their class or whatever.
So someone was mentioning on one of the chats last night, or maybe 2 nights ago, that Trump is the only president that doesn't share their ancestry with every other president. Is that
That's
true?
correct.
Now,
yeah. Because
where did that? Go ahead and explain, because I don't.
No. Where did that come from?
One of the people who comes on. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. No.
Oh no, I was confused. Yeah, just like if you can explain it, because I don't know exactly about that part.
Well, I think what they were talking about is there was and I think it's so hard. I can be here for like 12 hours telling you about this.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, the phone keeps on moving, so I'm trying to like get it to stick.
Okay. Don't worry.
So so what you have is the person that was telling you that, I guess, yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody that's ever been in power, or that's ever been in a presidency, I guess there was several people. There was one particular girl that did an ancestry tree of everybody, like celebrities and all that. I don't know how she did it.
Yeah.
But she actually did a project based on everybody in politics and everybody that's in entertainment.
Yeah.
Right. And she found, by doing the ancestry tree, that almost every single person that's been a president is actually connected, or like in the higher ups in government are actually cousins, like third cousins, fourth cousins, eighth cousins. Like Obama is connected to Bush. Bush is connected to I think it's like Brad Pitt. Angelina is like I don't know how many cousins away from Brad Pitt. Like their bloodline connects. Like they have family in common somewhere in their family tree. And then some people say, well, that's because if you go biblical, it's like Adam and Eve. Everybody comes from Adam and Eve, so everybody's connected through that line. So yeah, everybody's going to be connected because they're the first two humans.
Okay.
So, but this particular girl found out that Bush was like third cousin or something to Dick Cheney. Cheney was like, I don't know how many cousins away from Obama. Obama was like the cousin of somebody else. Yeah. And it was just like when the girl put that chart up, everybody was like amazed. And then somebody else did another ancestry type of situation. And then they found that, yeah, she was right. And they started connecting more people, more celebrities to each other.
Yeah.
And how they were second cousin, third cousin, fourth cousin. So that's kind of interesting. And it's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like inbred.
Yeah. And keep it all in the family, I guess. The power.
Yeah, I mean, and if you think about it, if there's secret societies all over the world, that would make sense, right? Because people are grooming people to power in different places. You know? I want to say, but no, you're not there yet.
Oh no.
When it comes,
my philosophy is I don't want to preconceive, like right now. I'm just taking it all in. I'll analyze it later. It's there's a Chinese like philosophy, or it could be Asian. It's just an Asian philosophy. Is someone is trying to learn from a master and saying, hey, I heard you're great, can you teach me something? And so the master's teaching him something. He's going, no, I don't think that's how it's supposed to be. And so the master goes, here, let's just drink some tea, and we'll continue. And so the master pours some tea into a teacup, and he keeps pouring it, and it's overflowing. And the person who wants to learn from him is going, "What are you doing? It's overflowing." It's like, that's like your mind. I can't teach you anything if your teacup's not empty. So you have to empty your teacup. And so that way he could learn from the master. Once he's learned enough, then he can try to understand it from his point of view. But if you come, like, I may make some faces, it's just maybe just amazement. I mean, something might trigger is like, I don't know if I'm there yet. Yeah, but I want to take it in, analyze it later.
Okay. So this is how I'm going to explain it to you. So for people that believe in the spiritual world, okay, I am one of those people, right? I've lived my life all that way. The way the spiritual world works, the entities, they guide you. So, like me, before I got involved in the occult, I wasn't involved in anything, but I respected. I understood that there was something there that whatever religion, whether it was Christianity or Buddhism or any of those religions, I understood that there's something there, but I didn't want to get involved. It was just something I didn't want to do. When whatever happened to me, or right before that, people used to come up to me in the street. I used to live in Miami, and I used to live on the beach, and people used to come up to me on the street, and random people, and they would stop me and say, and they would bow down to me, and they would say, "You know what you have?" And I'm like, "I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I don't mean to disrespect you," but they would look behind and they would say, "Honey, you got a long line." That's what this would happen to me like on a weekly basis. You have a long line. And I'm like, "I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're talking about." And they're like, "You have a long line of spirits walking behind you." That's what they used to tell me.
How old were you?
This was like in like my late teens.
Okay.
They used to tell me I used to have a long line. And then another time it would be, and it always used to be babalaos. I don't know if you know what that is.
No.
Okay. You might want to look into that.
How do you spell it?
Oh, man. It's like a long word. Or
Okay.
just, if you Google it, Google will try and find it for you. Babalao.
Babalao. Okay.
Babalao. Okay. I will get stopped, another week or two on the beach. The same thing. And they would be like, "No disrespect, but you're gifted." And I'm like, okay. And then that would happen to me a lot. People would come up to me, "Hey, you're gifted. You have this, you have that, you have a gift." Da, da, da. They would bow down to me. They would touch the ground, all that stuff. So basically what they were telling me is that I was a high priestess, but I wasn't there yet. So what happens is the spirits start putting people in your path, or the entities will start putting people in your path. So you can start getting acquainted with whatever this life is, whatever it is that they're guiding you to. So I started getting all these people crossing my path randomly. And then something happened to me when I was 23 that changed my life. And I never saw the world the same after that.
If you don't mind me asking, how old are you now?
Oh, man.
If you don't want to say, you don't have to say it.
I'm going to be 41.
You do not look 41. Wow.
Yeah. They used to tell me that I made a pact with the devil. That's a secret. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I'm still like
nobody, but yeah, that was a saying. I made a pact with the devil.
But so what's amazing is I see a lot of the same viewpoints as you when I'm watching your videos. I may not come to the same. I might not have gotten there the same way, and I'm still waiting on the proof, the evidence, the actions to occur before I make a decision whether I agree or not. You know, I'm again, it's my mind holding me back, but I want to take it in. And so it's that's so interesting though, because I'm very not religious. I'm very not, well, I'm not sure if I'm not spiritual or not, but very analytical, different pathways. But we've gotten kind of to the same conclusion of how the world is, how it works. I just don't have the proof or the experience or the knowledge of things that could be. Like, I don't know yet. I'm still reserving judgment. I just I don't, it's a lot to take in, but I know I've gone down that rabbit hole. That's what we call it, the rabbit hole, because it's just
the rabbit hole.
It's just it gets to that point of whether it's just belief. It's like, and for people who just can't have a belief, like me, I just can't believe. It's just, even if I want, like, if I believed in something like a religion, I felt like that would be so much easier for me, is that I wouldn't have to worry about like being hated, I guess, by every other religion that's out there. Is like, hey, why aren't you religious? Why don't you believe? And then it's my logic.
But are you actually hated? Are you actually hated? Like, I mean,
well,
the majority of people you come in contact with it.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like I'm never in that club, if you know what I mean. It's
right.
Right,
but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, I feel I feel like I'm disrespecting them when they're doing a prayer or a right before dinner they do the whatever. I just feel like, should I be praying? But if I'm praying to something I don't believe in, isn't that offensive to them? You know, it's so I just kind of feel out of sorts with religious.
Well, yeah, I mean, you just believe what you believe, you know. You're on, you're on a different. Everybody has their time, you know. Whatever it is for everybody. Everybody has their time, you know. Some people, they were atheists and then now they're not.
Yeah.
Some people were witches and now they're not. You know, wizards. I mean, everybody down here in Miami is a witch. Like in South Florida, you come down here, every third person you meet is into voodoo or Wicca or, Palo or Ifa or Santeria or the Mexican version of, witchcraft, or the Chinese version of witchcraft, or the even Islamist version of, doing spells. Like it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Like I can walk down the street and shake hands with people and I know who's a witch and who's not. You feel the energy. You feel their energy.
Now that we've gotten to this, Stanley Kubrick, the guy who did Eyes Wide Shut. What are your thoughts about him? Of the theory?
Not being involved. Being involved.
Yeah, being involved. Like he was trying to expose the Illuminati or the occultism in Eyes Wide Shut because he got murdered, or I'm not sure if he got murdered. He got killed. He died, but speculation is that he got murdered, and a lot of it has to do with his daughter was actually in the what's Tom Cruise in Scientology. And so he's just trying to kind of get at them or something in that same way, because of that. And of course that's why Tom Cruise is in the movie. And then with the actual story, if you watch it and you don't think about the occultism or the Illuminati or that aspect, it's a totally different story. But then when you add in that occultism aspect of it, it's a totally different movie. And then there's also some stuff that's been edited out before they released. Anyways, that's one of the conspiracy theories out there. And I was just wondering what your thoughts on it, if you saw it. And
okay, so you have a bunch. I mean, you just got to think about it. Like, it's really, for me, it's simple thinking. You have a bunch of rich people, high society people, doing ritual, because that's what you were seeing in that movie, is a ritual. It's a sex ritual. They practice sex magic. So you see the people sleeping with each other and the way they were having sex with each other. with the half robed or whatever.
Yeah, with the masks.
Yeah, it's sex magic. That's what they were doing. They were practicing a ritual that people do, the ancients did, of having sex in a ritualistic way. So I mean, it wasn't really like the movie didn't really show much, but it was an occult. They were showing you what the elite practice. It's like the Luciferian philosophy, you know. It's desire, pleasure, and that's the practice. It's sex magic.
I mean, it's like when I hear and see all the people, especially the entertainment world, where they are heavily on drugs or they commit suicide, it starts to make me think, because the way that mainstream media does it is just they couldn't handle the fame, or they were depressed or something. They always have an excuse, but it never boils down to
I wonder why.
Yeah. And we know that mainstream media doesn't really, they push narratives. And I mean, just I think today, Chris Christie, ex-governor of New Jersey, I mean, I don't think he could ever get reelected. He's now a commentator, a political commentator for a contributor for ABC News.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't see that.
So
you saw like, that today?
Yeah. I don't really look for news. It's just, I notice like when I go to work in the office, the elevator news, it's nothing else to look at. So I just look at the elevator news, and I was like, really? How come all the poor, bad politicians who don't get elected end up being political contributors? It's because if they were any good, they would actually be in office instead of talking about politics.
Right. Well, you know, as I said, in order for you to be in those positions, I mean, the structure, oh man, I wish we could have started somewhere else, maybe like gradually gone into this.
No, it's good. Like when you get initiated, my thought is that they record it. That way, if you ever try to get out, that's just a way to expose you and control you. So you're pretty much in it for life. You're at their bidding.
Right.
Is that true in your
experience? And if you're talking about the aristocrat, I call it the white man's initiation, because you know it's different. Like if you're involved in like the religious aspect of the initiation, the occult and the religious aspect, nobody's gonna find out what you're doing unless you talk. Like they're not gonna record anything. There's only specific people that are allowed, high priests that are allowed in the room. They take it's very dangerous when you're dealing with these energies. You can't, they don't want for you to talk about the secrets. So when the elite do this, these people that are in these societies, the Western societies, I'm not going to say that they don't show respect to the energies. At least the natives, whether they're in Africa, wherever they're from, that's native, they show respect, even if the entities are not good. They don't want to, they understand, they've been doing this for thousands of years. They don't want to disrespect the entities because they know what these things can do. The people in high society, they use different, they don't respect the entities. And they don't respect, how can I explain this? Oh my God. I really don't know how to explain this to you.
That's right. Take your time, or we could go on to a different topic until you like.
It'll come back to me. It's just, I'm trying to explain it in a way where it's like, it can be understandable,
Yeah.
But just the ancients do things in a particular way where what they're doing, they don't want it's very secret.
Yeah.
Like the stuff that you're doing is very secret. You're not supposed to even talk about it.
It's kind of like the Voldemort of Harry Potter. You don't want to say his name. That kind of
exactly.
thing?
Exactly. You're not supposed to mention the name unless you're in a particular space in a particular ritual, and you're not supposed to talk about it. You're not supposed to talk about when you conjure up demons. You're not. Like that.
So are we? Is it too late to do anything? Do they just have total control right now?
The thing about the end, they don't care who they destroy. So if you're dealing in that world, and you're involved in doing bad stuff, let's call it karma. Karma comes back around. Whatever you put out is gonna come back. You can only push the energies to a certain.
There has to be an equilibrium balance.
It has to, always, always, always. You can't continue to go dark and not expect the dark to consume you.
Mm-hmm.
It's that's the way it is. You can't go dark because you become dark and then you're out. You're done. Like you're used up.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. So these people, if you notice what's happening, and I'm sure you've noticed what's happening. The only reason that we know what we know right now about everything that's happening in society, that's happening in Congress, that's happening in Hollywood, that's happening, is because something out there said enough. Now everybody's going to see what's really going down and what's been going down for the last few thousand years. That's what happened. That's what's happening. The only reason you guys know about that Hillary is involved in spirit cooking or that she deals in spirit cooking, and that's real because in initiation they do something that's spirit cooking and you drink that stuff and it goes into your body and there's blood involved. Like that is real. So when you have like somebody like Hillary Clinton and John Podesta and all these people doing spirit cooking with a Satanist, a known Satanist, yeah.
I mean, because WikiLeaks so far, there hasn't been anything proven false. I mean, it's just so.
I love Julian Assange.
But and it is hard to believe. You don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But then there's other parts that people will accept about WikiLeaks and Podesta emails and Hillary Clinton, and then it gets to all this other stuff, and it's like, let's not worry about that yet. Because I mean, people, journalists, let's be independent journalists, they kind of don't want to be the crazy, the conspiracy theory, the nut job, because in journalism you need to at least present evidence, a source, something tangible, but then but if you don't question it, if you don't try to seek answers for it, you're never going to get the answers. That's another thing. So like I go down that rabbit hole. I'll stay down there for a long time trying to find something. I see the details. My mind can piece it together, but then it's the entire aspect of that's just like, for me, it's just too crazy, right?
It's human nature. I mean, what you're talking about is you're part of human nature. Mm-hmm. Human nature does not want to believe that things can be so bad. Our human nature is to think that there's really not that much. Like you don't want to, you because you're a good person, you don't want to believe that shit is out there. Mm-hmm. Like that's hard to swallow. Like really? Like you're cutting people, I mean, you hear it that somebody's cutting people up like Jeffrey Dahmer, but you just don't want to believe that is actually happening. It's like your mind doesn't understand that because you're not a Jeffrey Dahmer. Yeah. You've never been in that type of situation. So majority of people cannot accept a truth because they can't think in that way.
Yeah. I mean, we know that there's been all these experiments like in Japan back in World War II with humans and all this stuff. I'm sure Nazi Germany did the same. People believe that because it's documented. They got photographs and all this other stuff.
Yeah, but you can have documented photographs of Hitler and the SS doing a ritual with, with hoods on, but people won't believe that. But they have pictures of the SS doing a ritual around an altar, calling up demons, but you can't believe that. So you have a picture of experiments, and then you have a picture of them doing occult shit, but you're gonna be with the experiments and not look at that cult shit that they have a picture of. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I think like I have a good idea that they did do that, or people do believe in Lucifer and God, Jesus, Allah, whoever. But for me, I don't believe it as far as it actually being a tangible thing. I mean, if the philosophy is one thing, a religion actually being true is a different thing. And
no, what I'm saying is, like, you're talking about evidence, right? So
yeah.
the practice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what I'm saying is, you see them, they're doing an experiment, and they have documentation that they're doing an experiment, meaning believing that that's what they were doing. That's what I'm talking about. Like,
okay.
They were doing that. Not that you can see God or that you can see energy or whatever.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's like CERN. Like CERN.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So CERN does this thing. It has this big machine that collides particles, right?
Yep.
And then it creates some type of antimatter or worm, whatever.
Things that were very early on in the Big Bang that for a very, 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 very brief period of time. Yeah.
Right. So they've been able to do antimatter. Do you believe that they actually did it?
Well, we really wouldn't know, huh?
I mean, scientists, they've come out, certain scientists have come out. They were able to do, I think it was like some type of small ounce or something of antimatter. And they actually accomplished this. And then they actually went further and collided even more stuff. And they were able to open up.
Yeah, here's the thing is I have to take scientists or notable scientists' word for it because I can't repeat that experiment.
Right.
So it's
But I'm saying, is that evidence or is it not? That, supposedly they have all this documentation that they did it. Is that evidence or not?
Yeah.
Would that be considered evidence? And to whom?
It would be if I could repeat this experiment, but I mean,
you're not there.
Can't.
Yeah.
You're
not
there. I see what you mean. I see what you mean.
Yeah. But like people want, they're like selective. They like to selectively, accept stuff. And that's cool. That's human nature, right? Like I said, you can't accept all things because it's just, you don't understand it. You can't grasp it. It's not in you. But what I do, this is what I do. This is my thing. I watch the people I always say the same thing. I look at the people that have more money than me, that have more access than me, that come in contact with those that run things. I look at what they do, what they say, and what they write. And based on what they say, do, and write, gives me the confirmation of what I already know. So if I see somebody like Gordy, what's his name? Gordy. Is it Gordy? The guy that started DWave, the quantum supercomputer. Oh, you don't? Okay. So okay.
Richard Feynman or
no, Gordy.
Someone else that actually is making it. Someone now, now.
Well, Gordy did the DWave,
okay.
Quantum supercomputer.
Okay.
The big black, this huge big black box. Mm-hmm. Nobody knows how it runs.
Yep.
But they somehow made it. Well, You got to check his stuff out. Like,
Okay.
research him. It'll blow your mind. He did a TED talk, and he was talking about, the D-Wave supercomputer, AI, the capability, what it does. And he talks about how this supercomputer, this thing that they created at a military lab, can go into other dimensions, get information, and bring it back to our dimension to solve problems here. This is a scientist. These are people that are running our shit, telling you this. When they tell me that, and they have millions and millions and millions of dollars and all the access, I have to pay attention. Like, what are you talking about? You're telling me that you made a chip or a computer that's able to go into another dimension.
It had to be similar to ours, or very similar. I mean, or it's random. So it's just random data. How useful can random data be from it? Yeah, but I see your point.
They go into other dimensions, grab information from other dimensions, bringing it back into ours, and then solve the unsolvable problems. I know what they're doing. I know exactly what they're doing. They're opening wormholes to other dimensions, talking to things that are in other dimensions that's solving their problem. I don't know how they're doing it, but I know that's what they're doing. Because you do that in the occult. You open a wormhole, you consult with the other things on the other side. They give you the information to accomplish what you need to accomplish on this realm, and then you move on.
Yeah. And this is where my cognitive dissonance kicks in, because I watch I noticed, like, you hear this a lot, like, you can't make this shit up. Those words, because you watch movies and science fiction or fantasy, and you're like, yeah, that's just science fiction fantasy. But if it's actually happening in the real world, we're like, no, that's just a movie. That's just baloney.
Right.
But then, how long will it take, if it is true, for people to say, you can't make this shit up? I mean, we've already said it. We've already seen it. Mm-hmm. The craziness of what's going on.
So, simple thing that I always point out to, the 1960s, Star Trek. Mm-hmm. What did they have in Star Trek? Just the technology.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They got the communicators. They've got the phasers. They've got shields. They've got the transporter. Mm-hmm.
But they have flip phones.
Yeah, flip phones. Yeah. But they also, I mean, they have the generator, the food generator. They have the well, maybe it's they have the area where you can. It's a big virtual reality, but yeah, right. There's a lot of stuff.
And what do we have now?
Well, we do have the communicators.
What kind of phones do we have now? We surpassed the flip phone.
Yeah, we went past the flip phones.
So you're talking about how many years ago they had flip phones when we didn't have mobile phones, right? Mm-hmm. We didn't have them, and now we have them.
Well, what about like the science fiction writers of the 19th century, late 19th century, early 20th century?
Have you read any of those science fiction writers' biographies?
Oh, great. You're going to make me read their biographies now.
No, the only reason I'm saying that is because I guarantee you that all those science, probably 90% of them, are occultists.
Isaac Asimov?
I guarantee you, if you read their writings, mm-hmm. on how they got the inspiration to these things, how they came, most of them are going to be occultists.
Okay.
Most of them are going to be people that dabble into the spiritual realm. That's, that, I'm just telling you. Like
Yeah.
if you read
Yeah.
their biographies, read it. I mean, if I don't know, I'm not into like reading science fiction writer stuff. Actual learning about people and
Hmm.
stuff. I like history and all that stuff.
Yeah. So like when you do your journalism, your videos, and how do you like you don't present this too much. I mean, you break it down what's going on, but then like the details, like I don't see it. It's hard to follow. I mean, I see the end point. I just don't see how you got there. And now I'm getting the information, but it's so when you're doing
Because
these videos.
I'm talking to a specific audience, right? That
Mhm.
understand what I'm talking about. So I'm not gonna go like they understand. I can talk in codes and they'll understand. So if I'm talking to like let's say religious people, they totally understand what I'm talking. Or if I'm talking to someone that's a new ager, they totally get what I'm talking about. Or because they have their right because they understand my experience, they understand their experience, right?
Mhm.
Is my experience. So they're on the same wavelength. So that's why I don't really go into detail
Okay.
because they're already with on what I'm talking about. So if you're talking about like research, like let's say plasma, talking about plasma weapons or something
Mhm.
like that. I won't go into, I'm not going to show you anything. All I'm going to tell you is go here, DARPA, blah, 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 blah. Google this, Google that, and you go find it yourself. I'm not going to, I'm not going to sit there and present it. I want people to actually stop being lazy and go look at it. So then they can't tell me, oh, that shit is not real.
Yeah.
They have to go look at it for themselves. They have to go read the documentation for themselves. I don't want to sit there and break it down. I throw things out there and then you pick what you want to go check out. And then you go look at it. It's on DARPA. You can go to DARPA's website. They have everything laid for you. You just got to read the document.
Yeah.
You can go on DARPA's YouTube. They show you the technology that's coming. That's futuristic. Like they have missiles that create this shield, like this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
You can go check out Skynet, which is a satellite that's supposed to like deflect missiles in space and all this craziness that people think it's future, but it's actually now. Like they're working on. You can, I mean, is this everything that I talk about? You can go look at it, and the DARPA is working on it.
So what's the end goal? Is it to reach a higher, like a transcendence for certain people? Or, I mean, why would they want the World War III if they're already in control now? Is it a big energy transfer type of situation?
It's I know people are gonna say, oh,
No.
it's a
Don't worry about
simple.
it.
No. I'm just saying it's the
Okay.
simple, the old ancient beliefs of all the ancients. It's the good versus evil, the fallen against the creator. The fallen is he's pissed off. He got, passed over by his daddy and he's fucking mad. And he's immortal. And he doesn't like it. And we are fragile creatures that were created. And he wants to fucking destroy us. I mean, that's the simple thing. I mean, I say it this way because it's just a simple, the good versus evil situation. It's daddy didn't love you enough and created something else or had another baby, and you got mad. And now your bratty ass that doesn't die wants to eliminate your brother or your sister because they're different from you. And
But why would people side with someone who wants to destroy all of us?
because he's promising, I've met him. Okay. He promises you money. He promises you everything that a human being would desire.
Yeah.
So when you see these artists out here, and they got the nice jets, and they got the $1 million this and the $1 million that, and they got all the women, and they got all the gold, and they got all the champagne, and they're hanging out over here in Fiji, and they're hanging out in the Bahamas and sandals and over here. He promises you that. The only thing you got to do is just serve him.
I mean,
if you believe that, right? If you
I mean, I believe in the fight between good versus evil, action and inaction. But that's in a philosophical sense. I come my own way towards that. It's same as yours, right? But the details are different. It's
okay. So you're talking about it in a philosophical way. So you're coming at it in here, right?
Yeah.
It's thinking it. You're working yourself. I've experienced.
Yeah.
So I've communicated. Like I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up? Where are you? Hey, what's up? Hey, what do you want? You want this girl right here? You want this dude right here? You want $1 million? All you gotta do is cut your veins and give me your blood. It's that simple. He comes in, he says, what's up? He shows himself. He says, what do you want? All you gotta do is this. It's like talking to a person on the street, a drug dealer. A drug dealer wants you to hang out. He wants you to do some business. Drug dealer comes in, he says, what do you want? You roll with me, you get paid this much, you can have this car, you can have this. And it's the same thing, except this thing doesn't die, and this thing manifests and disappears. He comes in and out. He's not from here. And he sends things to you.
So what about before humans? What about the dinosaurs? What about all the different ages?
Hold on one second. I need to take this sweater off because it's hot.
No problem.
My bad. Starting to burn up. Humans, dinosaurs. Before that, what I can tell you about that is that we've always been here. Dinosaurs, we were with the dinosaurs. If you go back to ancient India, and even I think the Maya ruins. If you go to the ruins, you can see hieroglyphs. Okay, you can see hieroglyphs that show people like us with ancient dinosaurs in the same hieroglyphs. So that when I see that, when I see that they had hieroglyphs with dinosaurs and people, like they were writing dinosaurs, we were in the presence of dinosaurs as we are. I think you're cutting off.
No, I'm here. I can see you. Yep.
So that's why I always tell people, like, look at the ancient stuff. Look at the archaeology. Go check out what people are finding. What it is that nobody likes to look into that stuff. It takes too much time. Maybe they're not interested.
Well, I look at it and then I go, well, I think this is religiously led, and so far as I guess, I don't know, just someone who tries to follow. Now that I keep thinking about it, all the evidence or whatever they try to follow, it can easily be. It's just you have to take experts in those fields, their thought processes, their findings, etc. You have to kind of, I guess it is a belief. I mean, the scientific community, the scientific method is about just being able to repeat the same experiment and get the same outcome, and it's peer reviewed, all this stuff. But then there's only so much that you can test. I mean, most people who are scientists, and they have universities where they have laboratories where they can run repeated experiments. Individuals themselves, we can't really. We just don't have enough material, money, and space or whatever. So man, that
So
makes me think of,
theories then.
it's not theories, it's more like it's just hypotheses, and then seeing the way how they test their methodologies, and just see if there's any type of gaps in it that seem like it wasn't set up correctly. So if you try doing the same thing or slightly tweak it, you get different results. You can kind of say, you know, that hypothesis isn't quite correct. So it's but it's right now it's just kind of, you just have to read it, look at the details, and sometimes when they put in mathematical formulas, I'm not gonna go that far, so I just read the abstract. So it's hard pill to swallow, I'll say that, but I feel like it's I feel like if I was X-Files, I always thought I was Mulder Fox, but now I'm realizing I might actually be Dana Scully. uh yeah,
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. So okay, all right. Let's go here.
Yeah.
So when we invaded Iraq,
mm-hmm.
Okay, the military went there, we bombed.
After 9/11, not like invaded Iraq during
yeah, when Bush was in power. We went to Iraq, we bombed the hell out of it. We went in there, we went to the Iraqi museum. They found a 30-foot mummy.
where did you?
These are pictures that came out of the military personnel that they leaked online. They were taking pictures with the mummy and the artifacts from the museum before most of the artifacts were stolen. Where did that thing come from? I mean, there were soldiers that took, you know how they take pictures, like when they're overseas or whatever, they took pictures of themselves with this mummy. Where did that come from? But I mean, I look at that, like I look at stuff like that, and then I look at the stories that are told by the ancients of giants in the land, all these things, and then I look at the Hopi when they talk about when the mounds that they have in certain areas in the Midwest, and how there's giants. Their oral traditional stories talk about these giants that used to rule in the Americas. And then I look at the Mayans, and they used to have a giant god in their hieroglyphs. And then I look at the Egyptians and the Sumerians. They have the same, some god that came from the sky that's like 3, 4, 5 times the size of the actual regular people. And I think to myself, okay, all these people are talking about similar things. It can't all be myth. When the Greeks talk about Zeus and Poseidon and all these mythical characters, and even the Asian cultures, I think they have drawings that I've seen drawings of them showing a battle. Even in India, they have drawings of a battle of the gods in the sky. Everybody all the ancients have these stories.
Yeah, there are a lot of similarities between mythology. I would say that. Yeah.
Right. But everybody talks about the heavens, like the battle of the heavens, of the gods, and they paint them however supposedly the people saw it at that time. They'll show what looks to be, in some of the drawings in Asia, it looks like spaceships, people on top of spaceships shooting at each other in some ancient drawings. When you look at India, you have, what is it called? The Mahara, I think it's called Mahara. And it looks like they're on some type of thing, battling it out. And then obviously you have the Bible, you have the mythology of the Greeks, of the Romans, that the Titans fighting the other ones.
Titans fighting the gods.
Is it the gods, or it was it's another name. Titans fighting.
Yeah, it was the gods.
Was Was it
Yeah.
a guy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then you have, like you have different cultures talking about these warring, this warring in the heavens. I mean, I think about that and I'm like, gotta be something to it. It has to be. There, from my experience, what I've experienced, adding that, it just confirms my stuff. You know?
So where do you think
And
we're going to be in 2 to 4 years, or World War III? How? I mean, right now, from Trump's State of the Union address, it looked like we're going to gear up war for North Korea. That's what it felt like, as they brought in that Korean guy and told that sad story, etc. And is very militaristic. Just very a lot of nationalism, chanting
right.
USA, USA.
It's a typical thing. They did that before, and they
Yeah.
do it every single press. Everybody's the same. They try to be nationalist. You got to remember that there's actual plans, war plans out there that go back to. You have several different war plans. You have the Vatican plan. You can find, see what I love about the internet is that people that don't agree with what is going to come down that are within these structures, they have some humanity in it. They want us to know, so they leak. You have the Vatican has its own plan. You have the Yipon plan. You have the American Century plan. Okay, where it talks about we're going to war with certain countries so they can take over the area. People will say it's not about religion; it is about. And then the extras is the materials and ruling over people and the minerals. That's the extras, but it comes down to spirituality. Um, you can search that and you'll find that this is already pre-planned. This goes back to what Albert Pike was talking about, the final confrontation, which is the people of God against the Luciferians or the rest of the world. This is what it comes down to. That's the plan. But some people will say it's not. But if you look at the Vatican's plan, you look at the Israeli Yipon plan, you look at the Saudi Arabian plan, you look at the latest plan of the plan of 2000, it's the same layout.
I will say, yeah, there are a lot of religious people looking towards the end of times. I always wonder why, but they are looking forward to it because that's in the Christian sense. They want to be saved. That's where they can be saved. I don't know about the other religions, like with the what Islamists, Muslims, or Jews, how they view the end of the world. Like why would they want that? As far as like the majority religions, you're kind of frozen. Are you still there? She might have ran out of batteries. All right, we'll see. I noticed that James had started his stream. I'll try to get in touch with Avenger, Political Avenger. See if she wants to get on and over on James's channel. So if you guys are on, she's having technical difficulties. I don't know what it is, but anyways, I'm going to stop the interview. Yep, definitely I'm stopping now. I'll see you guys at James's. All right. See you guys. Yeah. Oh, Angel. It was more of an interview. I just wanted to see where it went. And there was, yeah, it's just, I like it. A lot to think about. And we'll see. We'll talk about it. And yeah, I'm not saying as a diss, Angel. I'm just, it's interview and discussion with Political Avenger. Her politics, I think, is I don't want to speak for her, is guided by what she knows and her experiences. My political aspect is guided by knowledge of thought process. But here's the crazy thing. We end up with the same political ideal, if you can see it that way. So her politics is guided by that. My politics is guided by something else. Her name is Political Avenger. The title isn't. It's just an interview and discussion. So, all right. Anyways, I'll see you guys at James.